All right, welcome back, everyone. It is December something, 18, is it? Yeah, December 18. We're closing in on the last days of 2023. And if you feel like I do, boy, it feels like as I say that, where did the year go? It's like we were just starting this year and already we're finishing this year. Anyway, that's the way it is every year. I find the older we get, it seems to go by faster. So Jade, take note. Don't grow up too fast because time does seem to compress the older you get. Years become decades. Anyways, we had a Seiko Kai this past weekend. Previous to that, we had come back from Boss event in Irvine, and I just wanted to touch on some of the things that I was meaning to share on Saturday Seiko Kai. I didn't have the time to really elaborate on the idea of the rhythm of events and how that plays out as a business strategy. Um, if you haven't read my book, which is somewhere out there, here, excuse me, it's called The Science of the Nikken Business. And I know you can still get copies on Amazon or something. Anyway, this book is an actual play-by-play. It's a history of things that I did and lessons that I learned as I did those things while setting records in Nikken. Um, there's one thing I'm pretty sure I have is the fastest launches of new people in Nikken, um, and multiple accounts of that, people hitting the platinum level in their first quarter of ever being in Nikken. Some were never network marketer before. So that's a pretty telling tale of if you follow certain principles, those principles are timeless and they work and they create results. Well, one of the things that, oh, by the way, how this book came about is I would do something, then I'd go across the world and teach what I was doing. And I found that I was using the same images over and over as I was going from one hotel to the next hotel, training my downline. Um, and those images were so ingrained in me that a lot of the stuff you see now that I publish is a reflection of those images. And and so when I came back to Toronto after the first go around, I wanted to share this information with my silvers in Nikken. So I organized a hotel not far from here. I had my cousin set up his video camera and off I went and did about a 2 hour or so training that was captured on video. And then those videos were duplicated and I sent a copy, it's a pair, video one, video two, because you can only fit so much information on a video. Anyway, I sent those videos out by mail to all of my silvers. And the goal was that they would watch those videos and learn what I was teaching wherever I was going and have that as a background of information to build their business. And then I did it again. So as I was experiencing these huge leaps in the business, I went on tour again, and then I recorded it again, and these three videos came out, um, and that's what's in this book. Essentially, what I've learned was video one. The second video was, I think it was the plan that creates big results, and the third one was getting started. So they were basically an encapsulation of everything I had been doing successfully in my Nikken career. And those success stories were being focused in on the launch of new businesses in Nikken. And each time they were propelling people into achievements that had never been seen before, other than maybe by one person, at least that I'm aware of, who had 30 years of network marketing experience. So these people with no network marketing experience were creating explosive growth in their first 30, 60, 90 days of business. And so this is sort of the formula or the case history of all the things that I had been learning and digesting and have since been training and developed many systems around, that's what this book is about. Now, why did I bring this up? Oh yes, because in these stories, there's some very characteristic things that go on in a launch strategy. And as we're coming into 2024 to launch, those of us who came back from the boss event know that we're all bosses here. And depending on whether or not you take that role seriously determines whether or not you're going to get paid like one. I mentioned on my earlier call, and I've mentioned this before, in this business especially, but we find that hobbies cost money, businesses make money. So you can tell whether you're in business or you're in a hobby based on whether there's a profitability. So you want to transition into this being a profession, a business, so that it's profitable and can provide you, your family, the kind of lifestyle that you're seeking. And so as we turn the chapter on 2023 and move into 2024 with great anticipation and enthusiasm for 2024 because of all the things that have been announced, all the things that we know are actually in development, and more importantly, as we renew our own commitment to ourself, to our business, to our future, that means we begin a new leg in this journey. Unlike the previous one, 2023 was the tee up. It was the laying the foundation of the conversations that are going to happen in 2024. There was a movement toward the business conversation as the lead conversation, if you will, instead of the product conversation as the lead conversation, or at least to open the door to the business conversation as part of your normal protocol to follow. And one of the questions that Luis had asked was, what's your methodology? Or at least that was something that was asked of one of his leaders in Latin America. What's your methodology? And they had hired a person to come in and teach the methodology, which basically is an encapsulation of the kind of things that I'm talking about in this book. Now, my point is not to sell a book. I am the worst self-promotion person on the planet. I don't even know if I've sold a single one of those books myself. They're not mine. I just gave them permission to take the videos, transcribe them, and release that as a book. The person who did that was Antonio Raimondo. So he's the publisher, not me. And so that's that. I don't even profit from it, even though I paid for it. Go figure. So it was more just to simply have it available and make it, part of the history of Mike DiMuccio and my legacy on this journey. So I digress. So the goal here in this conversation tonight is to give you a view into the mindset of a proper launch, the kind of things that go into it. I'm not going to get into the full detail of it because we don't have the time, but I do want to give you just the footnotes, the Coles note, the most important part where you can actually play a role right away. As owners of our business, we tend to feel, you got one. Look at that. There is another copy in existence. That's terrific. Is that Mrs. Kramer back there?
Yes, it is, and I'm still waiting for those
the DVDs.
No, the markers.
The markers.
You said you told me a couple of years ago that you would put the
I found the DVDs.
Yeah, you would match up the markers that are in the book with the DVDs.
Yeah. Well, that's just it. There's DVDs, right? So these markers in the book, these timestamps are the timestamp of the segment in the video. Anyway, I do have the DVDs. I guess I just got to now get those DVDs up onto YouTube or something, and then you can follow along. It'll be a much younger version of me. Should be interesting, though. Anyways, sure enough. So one of the things that we were, again, talking about being our own boss I think the analogy that Luis used was there's those people who own the pool, and then there's the people who use the pool. And the owner of the pool obviously creates the environment that makes it possible for swimmers to come and play in the water, for people to do, workout, for people to come and learn how to swim, for instructors to teach how to swim. They create the space. And the business builders in network marketing and in Niken, and the people who earn the big bucks are the ones who create the space. So they're the ones who create exponential growth. Exponential growth is when your paycheck is bigger than your expenses and can grow much beyond your expenses. Whereas most people are earning linearly. Most people trade time for money, even in network marketing. They just trade time for money. The promise of network marketing is that you can actually have a relationship with time independent of money. But that is only for a very small percentage of the population, because it's the same percentage of the population in every industry that will succeed. It's not that everybody can't, it's that a small percentage are willing to do what it takes. That's the God's honest truth. And so, when somebody says, well, what are the statistics in network marketing? I say, well, what are the statistics in real estate? What are the statistics in anything? Well, that's what they are here. You know why? Because every business and every endeavor is an endeavor of humans, people. And statistically, people sabotage themselves in every industry the same, statistically. So it's not that people can't achieve. So if you want to compare yourself to the average, I can tell you right now, you're not going to be very attracted to anything. So you got to compare yourself to what's possible and find the thing that aligns with your personality, and then go after it, because otherwise you're going to be like the rest of the population, just, fumbling along. So if you want to be a business owner and be successful making money in network marketing, it takes a new level of responsibility than maybe one that you've been utilizing. It means organizing people. It means creating a space. It means, gathering people and exciting people and empowering people. And one of the images I threw up on the screen on Saturday, I thought was very, very relevant to a conversation I had um, with a few of you after the event on the morning after we left, or at the hotel, the morning after the event. There was a couple of conversations that I had with some of you at breakfast, and it became very apparent that this was a very important conversation that I needed to share with everybody. In fact, I wanted to create an image so that I could really emblazon this idea in your mind. And that is, we don't join Niken, not us who are business owners. A lot of people, they join causes, they join groups, they join social events, they join because they want to just join. They want to be part of something. They want to fit in and they want to belong. And that's a big need, but filling in a belonging need. But business owners, the people who own the pool, the ones who create the space, you don't join Niken. That's not the mindset that is going to work for you. And not only that, but it won't work for the person who has a pretty strong identity. Nobody wants to, you know, go from being a professional whatever to, oh, I'm now a Nikonite. Nobody wants to join a cult. And so when we mess with their identity, the way we speak about Niken, the language that we use, how we ourselves identify as our role in Niken or its role in our life, those words are powerful and they create an impression on people. And so I was at breakfast, and the impression that this person was, after such an incredible event, they came away feeling that they were undeserving of being at that leadership event. And I thought, what an odd thing to think. How is it that they feel undeserving? Because in 2023, they failed to really perform and really do kind of things that the leaders who were winning all the awards and the recognition were doing. And so they felt, what am I doing at a leadership gathering when, I really haven't been leading? And so I thought, that's interesting. That is this person taking the position of the business owner, or is this person taking the position of they are part of a group and they were not contributing to the group? And so that little small idea can wreak havoc on somebody looking to find a place here. Because if they don't feel they can measure up to what the leaders are doing and be counted among the leaders, then they won't count themselves among that, and they will be deflated, and they will even take the position that they don't need to do the things that leaders would do because they are not one of them. In other words, they're here to either raise Niken up or they're not worthy. And that idea comes from when we project to people, you need to join Niken. You need to join Niken. You need to join us. When we use that language, we're asking somebody to adopt a new identity. And they may be perfectly happy with the one they got, and they may not know how to integrate this new identity into that identity. And that conflict can cause them to step away. And I'll bet you 99% of the people who have stepped away have done so over this one issue. They put Niken out here and they're in the back of Niken. And if they're not, doing what is necessary to prop up Niken, to make Niken front and center stage, it's all about Niken, Niken this, Niken that, and then Niken. If it what that whole concept doesn't work for somebody who's not a cheerleader. That concept doesn't work for somebody who's actually a leader. And it certainly doesn't work for a supporter who doesn't feel like they're providing adequate support. So that concept needs to be flipped on its axis, because that's the truth. The truth is you don't join Niken, you partner with it. You don't join your upline, you partner with them. So we all become co-creators. We partner. We don't join somebody else's something. We're creating our own thing. We're all our own boss. So I want to share this little image with you that I think speaks the language we need to start communicating, even to our own tribe, even to the people who are at the boss event. And so after I had this conversation, sharing these words, using props on the table, I was using, like, I don't know, I think the stand-up breakfast sign and the salt and pepper shaker. And then, this is you and this is Niken. And anyway, I was using these props to help them understand that they didn't join Niken. Niken is a mechanism to support us in the creation of what we want to create. Let me get this little bar out of my way. I can't get this bar out of my way. Oh, okay, I'll just ignore it. Okay, there we go. So what do you see here? Your balanced life. We all know about the 5 pillars, but it's about your balanced life, not Niken. Your life. It's you living your best life, no matter how many hats you wear. And in the case of this individual, the reason they took a back step was they had a commitment that they had made for 5 years. And this was they had just finished year 4. They had 1 more to go, which was a very solid commitment, a social and altruistic commitment, a very honorable one. So why would they be deflated? Because they didn't have Niken organized in their mind correctly. Their role and their identity with Niken and Niken's role and identity wasn't correctly identified for them. And so here's what I basically said. I said, you can wear many hats. You can be many things. Niken is one of them. Niken is one of them. Niken is something that helps you achieve what you want out of life. And it doesn't mean you have to be a Niken Royal Diamond to have everything you want in life. A Niken Royal Diamond business is a business that supports you in having what it is you want in life. Like, what is the point of the money of a Royal Diamond? What is the point of the influence of a Royal Diamond? Go beyond the title. It's what can you do with that in terms of how you express yourself in the world, who you are being in the world. And so Nikken is something that is there to support our identity, not the other way around. We're not there to support Nikken's identity. Nikken can take care of itself. They are responsible for their branding, not you. You are responsible for you. And you're responsible to whoever it is you choose to be responsible to, your family, your associations, your friends, the things that you're called to. How can Nikken form a support? How can you bring Nikken in as a support measure? You know, we have all kinds of things that we take in our lives that we bring into our lives to support us in being the best we can be, in creating as much possibility as we can, in providing as much benefit as we can for ourselves, our family, and others. So Nikken is there to help you create a balanced life, but it's not the only thing that you got going on in your life to create a balanced life. But it could be a very important one. It could be one that has a system of support by way of products. I think we can all agree that everyone, thank God for Nikken products, but those of us who've had the benefit of Nikken products, we understand how they really do contribute to our ability to be a father, a mother, a spouse, an athlete, a doctor, a lawyer, a sociologist. It allows us to be whoever it is that we are in the world much better, much more functional, much more resourceful, much more energetic. We can recuperate much faster than most people who come down with the flu. I just got through one myself, having come back from California. And, it didn't take very long for me to bounce back thanks to Nikken products. God, I don't know what I would be doing without the products. So the products are one facet of how Nikken supports me. The business opportunity is another facet of how Nikken supports me. In my case, it's my primary source of income, which is sufficient to allow me to live a certain kind of life and provide for many, which is what I've always wanted. It's also a facet of how I contribute to society, the impact that I make, not just through my business, but through my education, what I teach is a way for me to actually deliver value into society. So it supports me in my identity as a teacher. I don't have any other reason to call myself a teacher because I don't really have a venue where I teach outside of Nikken. So Nikken is a vehicle through which I can self-identify as a teacher, and I teach core principles, business principles, law of attraction principles. It supports my family in the fact that I have an income that allows me freedom of time, and I have sufficient income that I can actually supplement or provide resources to members of my family. So you see, Nikken is correctly organized in my mind as something that supports me in being me. And I just so happen to have built a business that is identified as a Nikken Royal Diamond business. I think it's really important to note that I made that statement. I don't call myself a Royal Diamond. Good Vibrations International Limited is a Royal Diamond business. That's the association to the rank. It's the business that has earned the maximization of the compensation plan. Mike DiMuccio, I'm the CEO of that business. But we always labeled me as the Royal Diamond. But in my mind, I'm correctly identified as the owner of a Royal Diamond business. You could be the owner of a diamond business, or you could be the owner of a platinum business, or you could be the owner of a gold business, or you could be the owner of a silver business, etc. Do you understand? That makes you connect to the idea more in a much healthier way. And it allows you to see the greater possibilities, because if you're the owner of a platinum business, you can choose to be the owner of a diamond business and then learn what it means to build and develop that business. You don't have to become a different person. You don't have to change your identity. You don't have to become somebody else in the sense that somebody you can't identify with. You know, you may not like the royal diamond you spend a lot of time with or you see, and you might think, I have to become that person to be a royal diamond. Thanks, no thanks. Well, that's the wrong association. No, you don't have to become that person. You have to become the best version of yourself and build a royal diamond business. What does that look like? And that's what this image is about. On the bottom right, you see your life balance, your balanced life empowered by Nikan. It's empowered by Nikan. You know that thing, so and so powered by whatever? Well, it's not just powered by Nikan, it's empowered by Nikan. So this is what you are offering the world right now. You're offering the world a way to support them in becoming their best version of themselves. Do not ask people to join Nikan. I think our language sucks. It has to change. I will insist on it because we're not asking them to join a cult. We're asking them to join a business enterprise, yes, but not to shift their identity about that. It's to create a support system for the life they want to create. And Nikan is a tremendous tool for supporting them in not one area, but all 5 key areas of their life, which is what makes Nikan such a unique offering. Is this making sense, guys? So now think of all the people that don't want to be a network marketer. They don't want to be in the magnet sales business or whatever. What we do is what we do. How you identify yourself, that's a different thing. I identify as an entrepreneur, not a magnet salesman or a water salesman or a sleep system salesman. I identify as an entrepreneur. Now, if you don't have the association right, if you're not teaching this, if you're not sharing this, if when you're meeting with a prospect, it's all about getting them into Nikan, it's about them leaving where they are and coming where you are. That in their mind is a leap. That's a leap and a huge leap of faith that most people aren't willing to make. But if instead of it being about them coming over to your side, it's about, hey, I've got something you can integrate into your side that can really turn the jets on and really give you a shot at the brass ring, at the title. That's a whole different way of approaching Nikan, a whole different way of approaching prospects. And as we go into 2024, I think it's really, really important we get this right because we want to expand our business. We want to expand our reach. And we want more and more people to feel that Nikan is something they can strap onto their life, bootstrap into their life, rather than that they have to leave that life to join this life. Again, in their mind, that's what they're thinking. In their mind, they're thinking they're going to have to do something different. They're going to have to change the way they're perceived, the way others will perceive them if they join this thing. Versus, hey, I just got a new pair of shoes. I can run a whole lot better with these shoes than the ones I had. That's not an identity crisis. It doesn't spur up any kind of an identity issue. And so that's what I'm talking about. We want Nikan to be something that everybody wants. Why wouldn't people be wanting to wear this necklace? Well, if they think they got to join a cult to be eligible to wear that necklace, then they're probably not going to want to do that. But if they thought wearing this necklace can help them improve their game, whatever that is, I think they might want to wear this necklace. You see what I mean? So that was the first thing that I wanted to talk about. The second thing was an actual calendar of events. To launch your Nikan business into 2024, we're in a window. Tomorrow will be December 19, my actual official 33rd year anniversary in Nikan when they accepted my application. It's funny because I have in my calendar December 16th because that's when I submitted my app, but they have on record as December 19th because I guess that's when they entered me in the computer. So anyway, As far as Niken's concerned, it's December 19th, 33 years ago. And I'll tell you, uh, what was I doing December of 1991? I'll tell you right now. I was what I refer to as the whisper campaign. I was making a whole stink about something that was going to happen. It was like I knew the stock was going to go public on Nikken and I had the inside scoop. It was like insider trading. That's the feeling I gave people. I gave people a feeling that there was something impending and important about to happen, and they were the early birds to hear about it, and they could catch the worm if they wanted. I gave people an impression. So it's really important that right now, if you're going to go into 2024 different than you went into 2023, then you want to shift how you're doing Nikken. Nikken ought to be now an opportunity for you to launch and launch like you've never launched before, taking into account all these things that we're talking about. So the whisper campaign would be there's a big deal coming down the pike, and we're making a move. You want them to join you in a partnership. That's the real aim here. You want them to join you not only in a partnership, but in a campaign. You want them to join you in a launch, in a strategy, in an activity. And that activity comes with an outcome. So you want to, in short, you want to sell them on the next 90 days of their life. You want to sell them on executing a plan and receiving a benefit that will go on long after those 90 days come and go. So when I was in my shoes, December of 1991, I was a person with a back problem. I was a person with no money. I was a person with no network. I was a wanting to be a musician, but actually ending to be a electrician. There was a lot of things that didn't make any sense in my life. But what did make sense was that I had this possibility to turn this idea into something meaningful because others had done so elsewhere. That's all I had to go on. I had to go on the fact that this company had people elsewhere that had done something with this, primarily Japan. And so it was like, okay, it may work, it may not work. How do I know? I can't see the future. All I can do is go by my gut. And my gut told me this was good, this was big, this was important. People needed to know about it. I felt compelled. And it was on that feeling that I was able to talk with people wholeheartedly about what I felt was going to be an impending event. And I'm not talking about it's day in and day out. It's day, it's a normal day in someone's life. I'm talking about an impending event. And this impending event was going to be the launch of this company in Canada. So, if I consider statistically the number of people who know about Nikken in Canada today relative to the number of people who knew about Canada on December 19th when I joined, and I wasn't the only one who knew, by the way. I found that out at the first meeting that Nikken held, that I wasn't alone. Dave Rolfe was at that meeting, and he was just, Dave Rolfe. But I guess he was more of an observer because I wasn't there to observe. I had 43 people on my team, including me, at that first Humans Being More in Toronto. So what was I doing in December to get that many people in the first week of January at an HBM? Think about it. What would you be doing if you knew something important was coming? You didn't know what it was. I had no idea what HBM was. It was called silver training. I was just told it was the Nikken event. It was the launch event. You had to be there and get everybody there. And that was it. It was like I had to get people there and I had to be there. And the more people, the merrier, because we know how this works. So that was it. And so between December 19th and the end of December, I was in my Whisper campaign looking for my partners. I was looking for anybody who wanted more than what they had, who was hungry, who really could use um, a new perspective, just who was hungry, who wanted to be a major player in something significant. Botanis was one of those people who came along in those first days. In fact, it was my second meeting. My first meeting was Bruce Black, and he brought Botanis to the second meeting. And so one became three, three became six. And by the end of the first month, we were 11, including myself. So I finished December with 11 people in a meeting room where we said, okay, this is what's the plan. And the plan was we would set up a schedule of events, lickety split, in January. And those events were going to be public events on a big scale and a small scale so that we could accommodate the blue collar and the white collar. We looked at it from that point of view. Daytime, white collar. Nighttime, blue collar. Daytime, executive briefing. Nighttime, wellness preview. Daytime, 80% business, 20% product. Nighttime, 20% business, 80% product. So that was the balancing act of trying to reach as many demographics, meeting on Tuesday in the east end of the city, meeting on Thursday in the west end of the city. And that's how we covered geographically a big city. And I'm saying we because we were 10 plus me 11. What we knew was we needed to fill those rooms. But what was the easiest way to fill rooms was to have a place to go, not one-on-ones, not meeting everybody individually, but creating a gathering place. And one-on-ones in between, yes, but we needed a place to gather. Why? What do people see when they see numbers? It's called, there's a name for it.
Momentum.
Well, that's what it is created, but what a prospect sees other people in a
social proof.
Correct. Social proof. What we needed was social proof. We needed to show people that there were people interested, enough people interested, that it has its own effect. If you bring one person into a room with one person, not a whole lot of effect. But you bring one person into a meeting room with 100 people, whole lot of effect. And so that's how we closed people. We didn't have to close people. They closed themselves because they saw the social proof. They saw the evidence of interest. So gathering people creates social proof, and social proof is something that we as humans operate by 100% all the time. And so if we want to create momentum, we've got to create social proof. And how you do that is 2 become 4, 4 become 8, 8 becomes 16, 16 become 32. So a simple strategy would be one, let's say you did one event per week in January with some major event as your lock-in event, which we already have. We know what it is. It's January 20th. Now, in case of Laval, they got 2 events. They got a January 13 HBM. So that's like my launch in January. I think it was second week, I had the HBM silver training. And then on the 20, I think in my case it was the 21st, we had our major event. I had 230 people at our major event. So 42 people, 40 plus me, 43 at HBM, 230 people a week later. That's how fast things can go when you have a rhythm. When you have one thing leads to the next thing, leads to the next thing, leads to the next thing. And in between those major events, we had our business meetings. So we had a very, very aggressive calendar of events. And the only reason why you have that is somebody comes to this event, they see other people at the event, they get excited, they join. but they're told, come back to the other event, the next event, which is either in the evening or the next day or in 2 days, and bring somebody. So now the next event, it's you plus them plus their guest plus your guest. And then the next event, it's you plus them plus their person who joined plus their and so on. And now you're starting to get numbers to grow. Yes, Paul.
Yeah, HBM, I think I can't remember what it was, but about $300, or it wasn't cheap HBM in those days.
Nope.
So the people who came to HBM, let's say it was their first Nikken event, was that the first investment they made, or were
Yes.
they also, yes, they weren't investing in that much in products at that point, or what?
What do you mean? Oh, no, we had our strategy for getting somebody started. We had a pack
Okay.
strategy. So at that time, we only had one pack, which was the business pack. It was $700. And it was a small version of our energy pack, actually. So our energy pack is kind of the equivalent of the business pack. The demo pack didn't come till much later because we didn't even have a sleep system until month 2. So
Okay.
we had a pack strategy, how to get people started. So one of the things you want to have in your business culture, in your quote, business culture, is a culture of how you get people started. And there's nothing wrong with you saying, this is what we recommend. I recommend good, better, best. Which one you want to hear about? They usually say best. And then we work backwards from there. So the idea here is create a culture of how people get started. You want to systematize your business. You want to take the decision-making, the many points of decision, and reduce it down to decisions having been made for them, which is in fact in their best interest and duplicatable and easier to sell. It's hard to sell. Do this, and then you sell that. And now you got to do this and sell that. And then you got to do this and sell that. And then when we're done this, we'll do that and sell that. Every one of those things is a sell, costs time, energy, efficiency, money, hard to duplicate. But if I said, here's what we're doing, and if you like it, here's what you're going to do. Boom, 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 boom. So now I just have to sell it once. If they like it, they already know what they're buying. Boom, 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 boom. So the launch package, the launch strategy, the launch culture is when they say yes to the business. Otherwise, there's anything you want, whatever you want. So have a culture. That was one of the keys to duplicating. We had a business practice, time, money, contacts. Make your list. One of the things that we also had was 100 video cassettes. You joined, you bought 100 cassettes. They were a buck a piece. We were boots. What do you call them? Bootlegging them. You know, but you bought 100 videos. Now what are you going to do? You got to get those videos out. We needed those videos to get the word out. That was the buzz, to create the buzz. How do you create a buzz? Exposure. I created a video for you guys for that buzz. It's the demo. That little 46-second demo video is for you to create a buzz. To get it out there. Say, get this out to the next 50 people. Like in the next 24 hours, get this out to 50 people. If you have a culture where the goal is get a buzz going fast and create social proof as quickly as possible, rinse and repeat, then people start asking questions. They want to know more. Right now, there's a bit of a culture being rolled out where I have to educate you before you do anything. I, Mike DiMuccio, never sold you that. I never will. I believe there is an overtraining. And if you sponsored somebody new and you teach them to do what you did, you're going to be stuck where you are. You need to sponsor somebody new and teach them to do what I did. I'm the best there is in Nikken. I can say that out loud because I know it's the truth. What did I do? I got busy. When I sponsored somebody, I got them busy. Doing what? The thing that they needed to do, which was what? Bring new people to the meeting. Whatever it is that you needed to do to get them there. So a few techniques, a little conversation, a little create interest, contact and invite, a little demo here, a little demo there. The meeting was the key, because once we got them to the meeting, we could educate them. We could do all the other stuff that we do. And more importantly, they could hear testimonials. They got social proof. In the absence of a live meeting, we've become overeducators. And instead of talking to 50 people this week, we talk to one person and hope that they come to a conclusion before the end of the month. Hard way to build when it's that slow. So what we want to do is we want to give a brand new person the best start possible. What would that look like? We need a calendar of events, and then we need to just keep moving people to that event schedule. Let the meeting be where they get excited, they get connected, they feel, hear, get a sense of who we are and so forth. You guys create that environment. You're good at it. You're as good as it gets because you've had the experience. You have that know-how. You can create that space. You could be the person who owns the swimming pool, who just creates the environment for everybody else to play. So the event schedule should include every Seikokai. And that means we're moving to a hybrid event, which means we want the Seikokai to be a live event. If it's in your living room, it's not just you and the TV. It's you and your group, or you and a bunch of guests. Because every time an event happens and there's more new people, that creates social proof, that creates energy. There's a synergy in that energy that doesn't exist any other way. And all of a sudden, you start to get results that you didn't get before. And if you have a protocol for how to get somebody who wants to play on board, and you have a business culture where, listen, we got a good, better, best scenario for getting started. There's no requirement here, but there is a good, better, best scenario from experience. What do you want to hear about? Okay, well, what's best? Best is you have all the products. I know that's not necessarily the most practical scenario for you. So having all the products is going to be a goal. How quickly can we get you to all the products is really the next objective. And so good is one item, one pack. Better is two. Best is all three. That's a great start. And as you start that way and you encourage others to start that way, more products in circulation, more products in use, more stories, more belief, more conviction. And that is what fuels the invites. It's passion and conviction is what fuels the invitations. We have a schedule of events. So as I was saying, they're going to have an HBM in Laval. That's going to be a prospecting event. They're not selling HBM to consultants. That's redundant. They're already in. Sell HBM as a personal development curriculum. Sell it as an opportunity for people to push reset and make 2024 something special. HBM is the thing that works on your mind. And if you're going to change your life, what do you got to change first? Your mind. So sell HBM as a prospecting event, like you would a prospecting event, an opportunity. It has nothing to do with Nikken, nothing to do with the products. It has everything to do with what they want in their life, an engine, a way to reset, a way to catapult them, to shift what's going on in their life. And believe me, come January, everybody's going to want that. The 20th is a pre-launch. I know Nikken's going to release the products on the 20th. You're going to be able to order, but sell it as a product pre-launch. It's an opportunity for you to create a new story. We get to do that. Every time Nikken comes out with a new product, it's a new story. and we can shape that story. When I sponsored a new person and launched them in the business, it's a new story. Do they care how long I've been in Econ or what money I've made? No, they want their crack at it. They want their 90-day success story. So every time we enroll somebody, it's a new story. It's a new beginning. It's their new business launch. It's Niken supporting them in their vision. So how long has Niken been in business? Who cares? How long has free enterprise been around? Free enterprise is the backbone of what makes everything possible here. So if we're going to put a timestamp on it, that limits opportunities of every kind. It's just as long as there's a possibility, an opportunity. And we now have a new opportunity with a new product coming out. So that's a pre-launch. Sell it as a pre-launch, which means I would encourage you to sell that meeting, that particular January 20th meeting, as a pre-launch to your existing audience. All your consultants, all your customers, you already have a database there. Go to town on it. This is a chance for people to learn about something new and exciting. No matter what they've seen or heard, they've not seen this. You guys don't, well, you guys in Boston know what it is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so then they're going to have in Laval, they're going to have an event on the 17th with me as a speaker. It's called Law of Attraction event. That's going to be, again, a recruiting event. Followed by the week later, the Seiko Kai. In this case, it's the friends and family launch. So now you're expanding the circle. And then in March, it'll be the Seiko Kai for the full-on launch. That'll be your momentum month. Now, if you've got those big events in place and you know you got to find a venue that you're going to host this event where you've got the ability to invite more than one, a group of people, interface with the computer so you can be live part of that event. They can interact, you do demos, have lunch, sandwiches, whatever, make it simple, but make it interesting, make it attractive, make it social. Then what you now have is the beginning of a plan. Now what you want to do is, okay, so what are the little things that I do on a daily basis that feed into those things on a monthly basis? It's contact and invite people into a process. The methodology is a process. Do you guys know what the 3 steps of the process are that I teach? Number 1.
Yeah.
It's the why conversation. In other words, contact and invite them into a why conversation. Number 2, it's the how conversation. Move them from the why, transition from the why to the how. Why you want something to how you can get it. That's where Niken comes in. I've also provided you with 2 tools. One is the demo video that you can use either remotely or following or even live right there in front of them to create the impact so that they can see there's something to this. That creates interest, that piques interest that you can then use to transition to the invite to learn about Niken. Where are they going to learn about it? Are they going to learn about it live? Is there a meeting you're going to invite them to? You should have that in your calendar now. You should know, where am I moving these people that I'm attracting? And then where am I going to get them to move their people? This is why I had a calendar in January. Because if I'm getting 10, 20, 30 people joining, and I don't know where to point these people, how are we going to build any momentum or cohesion? So I had to have a calendar of events, and everybody got the same information. Same bat channel, same bat time. That's where we are. That's where you come. That's where you bring your contacts. And that's what allowed us to build momentum. So have a calendar of events so that you know where to move people to that you're inviting and where to move people to that they're inviting. And that the next generation is inviting. And that the next generation is inviting. Excuse me 1 second while I check something real quick here. So we got a bit of a storm outside that seems to be making all my sensors go nuts. Yeah. Okay, so the big rocks are the Seiko Kai events, the product launch, which is tied to the Seiko Kai. So it's all about how you market these things. How do you market the event? Again, if we're not inviting people to join Nikken, these events are opportunities for what? For people to pivot. Okay. I always think of an event as a prospecting event. First, how do I turn this into a prospecting event? Who am I prospecting? Well, we got a product launch. That means everybody who knows about Nikken is my first prospect. Because they already trust the brand, they know the brand, they like the brand, and now there's a new product. I need them to be part of that conversation. Then the next time we gather, they're going to get an invite to bring other people to learn about it. So that's why the first one is a pre-launch. Who are you launching? You're informing your existing body of consumers, both consultants and customers. And then the next time you launch, the next month, the next event, which was in February, make it about they get to invite people now. So you're now asking them, so get creative. How do I get the people who now know about this product, maybe have ordered this product, to invite other people? How about getting some testimonials? How about asking them to share their testimonials at that upcoming event? How about giving them some special something or other if they bring 2 guests? So start using your thought process in terms of not just, oh, this is the next event and you work to that event and that's it. No, use every event as a springboard to the next, to the next, to the next. And over 90 days, that's how you create momentum so that your audience is growing in that span of time, not cycling in that span of time. And then the little events in between, you know, the live events online, the live events that you're going to have in your home as opportunity meetings. Sorry, let me get back to that second. So the first conversation, create interest, use a little video to stimulate that interest. Second conversation is, how does Nikken fit into this? And I created a page for you guys to use. Again, you can use that page as a digital brochure. Say, here, when you get a second, go through this. Maybe you've already met with them at a coffee shop. Maybe you're having an in-home with them. Maybe you've invited them to an online event. Maybe they're remote and they haven't gone to any of those things, but you still want them in the next conversation. It can't wait. It's got to happen now. You created the interest, strike when the iron's hot. Send them the link. A better way business. It's a powerful, powerful tool. Now what? They're now in this process. And what do you want to get? Exposure, social proof. Connect them to other people. Connect them to other stories. Connect them to other faces, ABCs, follow-up, live event. And the last conversation that's going to happen is the what conversation. And that's the real conversation of a person saying, what's it going to take for me to make a go out of this? And when you're at that conversation, if you don't know what to do, we put something in place for that as well. Especially, we call it the 18 karat gold accelerator team. And so we have a special presentation on Thursday night at 8 p.m. that you have to actually RSVP us, because we don't sit there waiting for you guys to show up. We only show up when we know we have somebody to meet. And we will get into the what it takes conversation for somebody who genuinely wants to know what it takes. Pretty soon you'll be able to do that on your own as that tool is flushed out. But the bottom line is, that's a methodology. Now they say yes because you have a business culture. How do you get them going? Again, here's the big question. Do you want them sitting in a classroom? Or do you want a cheat sheet to get them out the gate and creating some interest? Like now, we'll get you, you can do the back stuff, when you got some free time on your hands, when you're, clipping coupons or whatever, we'll get you to know the no. But in the meantime, we need to get you into action. And the best time to get somebody into action is when they're excited, not when they're educated. Usually when people get educated, they get less excited. Have you noticed that? So, yeah, because the conversations is what's going to excite them. They want to know about the business, get them on the phone with me. Without having to look at the compensation plan, I can assure you I'm going to get them excited about the business. At some point, they're going to want to learn about the compensation plan. At some point, when it's actually relevant. But we're not selling insurance here, guys. We're selling lifestyle. Any questions? That went on. Jeannie, you're muted. Yeah, go ahead, Nancy.
Uh, am I unmuted? Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Okay. You said what at the end you were saying the why, how, and what, and you said the why, and we have two things that we have given you to do this, and you said the demo video. And then you didn't say a number two. And now I'm thinking, well, it's the better way business in the how is what you were thinking. Because you said we have two things for the why conversation. And I thought, okay, I know the video.
No, we had two tools, but no, the one is for the why and the other one's for the how.
Okay. All right. Okay. I just
But
thought.
but the better way presentation, by the way, which is also now on that page. So if you go to the page and you go to, there's two pages, by the way. So there's the front page that you can, and if they click, there's two or three opportunities where they can click and get to a back page, which is additional resources. And the additional resources have things like me doing a presentation on the bridge to finance, how Nikan is a bridge to the B quadrant. And that's a really good presentation if you haven't seen it. And other things, it's really, really good for somebody who's going to dig in. That's why it's layered on two levels, because you don't want to give them too much up front, and it's already a lot. So, but it's a great way to systematize your approach to informing somebody about Nikan, so that you feel that on that document, on that page, there's enough to discuss. They don't really need to know anything more to make a decision. There's more there than I ever knew to make a decision.
Me too. Yeah.
So that's another thing. The other thing is, at what point in time is enough enough? Well, you got to make that call that, listen, you know enough now to make a decision. And right now we're just, moving the ball along, but nothing's actually happening. Paul.
It looks to me like with Bruce and Bo and you, the why, how, what conversations took about a day. It didn't take very long. And then those 11 people that came from the three of you, how long did it take before you were through the why, how, what?
Most of those
was that by the end of December?
I would say those conversations were all in a day. We didn't have nearly as much information. They were betting on the come. They were betting on the idea that this was going to happen. We had one video called, what was it called? Humans Being More. That was the name of the video. It was the Nikan video with a few things that were added. And that video was 10 or 12 minutes long. We had another video by Dr. Ted Zablotsky, which was definitely over the top, talking about vascular blood dilation and so forth, which had to do with magnets, and we would never use that. That was like, so we had two videos, we had demos, and we had ABC calls. That was all we had to make those conversations happen. And it was on the credibility of that information that people took a leap of faith, because they were being given the idea that this is what's happening, this is the time frame, and it's go time. If you're going to sit there and just twiddle your thumbs about and wait to see what happens, well, we know what's going to happen. So it was really the early adopters that were able to see the possibility quickly. So that's another identifier. How long does it take somebody to get excited? It really depends on their why. If they don't have a strong and compelling why, it doesn't matter what information you present to them. Nothing's going to move the needle. Meanwhile, a person who has an incredibly strong why, one little insole demo and bang, they're hook, line, and sinker ready to talk to 100 people. So it's what really is the differentiator, I think, is how strong of a why a person has. And here's another contrast. A guy like Marty Jeffrey, one conversation with him on the phone and then a subsequent ABC call with my sponsor led this guy to jump on a plane with his accountant and come and see me in Toronto. Who does that? I'll tell you who does that. Guy making $70,000 a month in the publishing industry, who's got time and money and wants to check out this idea. Well, that guy made a lot of things happen for us. And so there's going to be the 1 in 1,000 Marty Jeffries, maybe 1 in 10,000, maybe 1 in a million. I don't know. But the point is, the person who has the right desire will do what they think is necessary in order for them to get to the finish line. So our job really is to turn over those cards and look for those aces, because the same information is going to impact them differently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's to make this why, how, what conversations to have them happen quickly. And if the why is strong right from the beginning, you can tell the how and what's going to just kind of fall into place, I guess, is what you're saying.
Exactly what I'm saying. Yeah. They may not even finish the entire process before they join. When they sign up, they buy some products. You do want to get them through that process, because the decision you're asking them to make warrants an understanding. And so the process is there for their understanding that at the extreme, all of that information should result in a correct decision, but it's not necessary to make the decision and get involved. It is necessary maybe to make good business decisions. So for instance, why would a guy make a good, better, best decision when they don't know good, better, best is an option? So at some point in time, they're going to learn this option. Why? Because it's part of your education process for them to make that decision so that they can get a good start in terms of replicating the culture. Okay, well, this has covered a lot of ground, and yet, we could go on all night. So we have Christmas around the corner for all of us who are celebrating Christmas. For those of you who are celebrating Hanukkah, I think it's still up, right? Yeah.
No,
So
it
did
ended
we
on
miss it?
Friday.
It ended on Friday. Okay. Well, I hope it went as well as expected. It's always a
Yes.
great time of the year.
Yes.
And for those of you who are going to spend extra time with family and friends, make the most of it. Again, I signed up on December 19 when we were going into the holiday season. And yet it was the thing that was my motive and the lever to meet up with people and talk about this impending January, that something was going to happen coming in January, the Whisper campaign that they could be a part of, they could win big. And so what is so special about January that they could win big? It could be the beginning of the rest of their life. It could be the beginning of an opportunity for them to put a jet engine, bootstrap a rocket engine under their shoes and start living in a quality way that maybe they have not been able to do until this time. So that's what NICAN is. It's an opportunity for people to, they're 90 days away from a massive change in their life. 90 days can change everything. I can tell you, a launch strategy like this in 90 days. So I had 3 people hit the platinum rank inside of 90 days from zero. The platinum at that time, which was 60,000 points, 6 silvers. Sorry, 20,000. So it was 120,000 points, 6 silvers at 20,000 points. 3 platinums inside of 90 days using this launch idea. And yeah, filling in the gaps as we went. But the idea here is it's that significant. But for somebody who's, making ends meet, an extra 1,000 a month, an extra 500 a month, an extra $2,000, wow, especially after Christmas, that could be a really big deal for them. What drives this is people's motivation, and it's really important that we start talking about that and framing NICAN in a way where we're showing them NICAN is not something we're joining, it's something that joins us. Alrighty then, I'm going to wrap and say, hey, everybody, it was great working with you. And I want to wish you a very, very Merry Christmas.
Same to you.
I'm not sure when the resume date is. Let's see. 25 is a week from now.
The 8th.
January 1 is 2 weeks from now. So it's the 8th, January the 8th. Wow, we won't see each other for a couple of weeks. Well, that means you're going to have a lot to tell me. I want to see your plans, by the way. Please get a calendar. I like a paper calendar when I'm mapping this out 90 days. I need to see it in front of me. I can't do it on a computer. Everybody's a little different. I have my own little way of doing it. So create a little bit of a calendar for yourself. And so you can start to visualize. And when you're visualizing, I want you to think this generation gives birth to the next generation, which gives birth to the next generation. So every event is a new generation. That's how we work it. That's how we imagine it. That's how we envision it. That's how we characterize it. That's how we express it. That's how we share it. That's how we invite.
Okay.
All right, everybody. Have a
Thanks.
great one.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas.
Merry
Happy
Christmas.
holidays.
Happy
you,
holidays.
Mike.
Hey, by the way, if you haven't seen Michael DiMuccio, my son,
It's so good. Oh my
he's,
gosh.
he's killing it. So he's now a singer, I guess.
Singing your song, Michael.
Oh my.
It's up to you and it's up to me. No one can say to be. So why don't we reach the stars? Maybe the world could be us tonight. What if we?
That's it. That was his little thing that I found out about last night.
What is his name under? What is he, Mike too?
He's DiMuccio Sings.
Okay.
DiMuccio Sings on Instagram, and he just he did one about Adele. Check out the one he does of Adele. It's pretty actually great. And yeah, a new track.
That's awesome.
So,
Yeah,
I'm
good.
so proud of him. I was stunned because listen, I'm a singer and I know what it means to hit those notes and to do it without screwing up. I'm like, wow.
Chip
So
off the old block.
we have we have karaoke coming up on Sunday, so that'll be a lot of fun to hear him live.
Yeah.
Oh, fun. Awesome.
Yeah.
All
All right,
right.
everybody. Merry
All right.
Christmas.
Bye-bye.
Talk to you soon.
Holidays. Thank
Everybody.
you.
Bye.
Bye.